Hey guys, it's Tim Miller, the Bulwark. I'm here with my partner in crime, Sam Stein, and we have a little series that some of you have enjoyed where we analyze the most ridiculous videos of the 2024 cycle and kind of break
Yes.
them down for you. Our bread and butter to date has been RFK Jr. because he just gives so much material with the bear and the beheading of the whale, etc.
Yeah.
But today, JD Vance has given us a little something. He was on stage yesterday with former car racer Danica Patrick. And Danica has kind of an interesting backstory that Sam's been looking into.
Yeah. Well, Danica is not as a historic race car driver. I think she was the first female race car driver on the NASCAR circuit. But in her post race car driving career, I think she's past that part of her career, but she becomes something of an alien enthusiast. And she has a podcast where she brings on a bunch of guests and has these incredibly, I don't even know how to describe the discussions.
Credulous.
Sure, you can call them credulous. I call them bananas. Intergalactical. I don't know what kind of adjective you want to describe them. And I went a little bit too far into the rabbit hole. They talk a lot about like the likelihood that reptiles from a different planet have come down and are maybe among us, and they shapeshift, and that we're not here permanently, but that we're like, at some weird intersectionality of space and time. And there's a weird thing about Elon Musk in there, and I just was having a lot of trouble following it. But I did a lot of research, and it really brought me to a different place.
This takes us to an interesting observation I hadn't thought of till right this second, Sam.
You know what? Yeah.
Is it possible that the Danica endorsement of Trump and Vance and this event itself that she did with Vance that we're about to show you, could it be a case of keep your friends close, keep the lizard people closer? Because if anyone is going to be a lizard person in a human skin suit, if you said to me, there is a lizard person out there in a human skin suit in our public life right now, I want you to guess who it is. I think JD would be my top guess. I mean, I don't know who else would even be on the short list.
I mean, when you listen to her guests on the podcast, they tend to think that celebrities are the real lizard people in disguise, and that they're just sort of biding their time to do I don't know what. But yes, I think there's a possibility that this is, because you'll see in this clip about the play, this is her foray into politics, and so maybe there is something to it that she's identified a lizard person and wants to be there. Let's play the clip of the endorsement yesterday first, so that you have a setup for what we're about to discuss.
Kaylee, I'm also a first-time voter, I just want to say. I've never voted before,
that's
but
awesome.
this time
Good
around,
for you.
I have to vote. Yeah, it's that important.
I just want to be clear. I want to get on record. You're voting for us, right? You're voting for the good guys?
1,000%.
There we go.
If I could vote twice, I would.
Okay, I have a couple of things. I just have two just quick thoughts. The mindset that you would be, I've never voted before in my entire life, and it is now after Donald Trump's coup and insurrection on his third run at age 78 with the darkest face makeup. This is the time that I'm finally motivated to vote. That's interesting. It's also interesting.
Well, maybe that goes to your theory.
Yeah, maybe this isn't an earnest thing. Maybe it is she's trying to keep tabs on the potential lizard person that got added to the VP ticket because she didn't have to care. Mike Pence was a real human, so she didn't have to engage since Mike Pence was a real human. One other, though, possible thought, which makes more sense. You hate to handle Lindsey Graham, but in the Bob Woodward book, Lindsey, one of the anecdotes is that Lindsey says to Trump, like, you don't need to do any more work with the flat earthers and the people that don't believe we went to the moon and the alien people and the lizard people. You've got them already. As it turns out, I guess not quite. I guess Trump was right. There was a little bit more juice to squeeze out of that orange. A couple more.
Yeah, he's got Danica.
No, he added Danica. All right, so I've not seen these clips you're about to show, though. I'm coming in blind, so you take it from here.
I want to play the April one. The first April one first. It's Elizabeth April. I don't know who this person is, and I feel a little bit bad sort of bringing her up, but not too bad because it just kind of underscores what's going on, what kind of people Danica's hanging out with before she's hanging out with JD. And I think let's just play the first one. I'm kind of interested in your reaction to this.
Okay.
So a lot of them are leaving. Some of them are staying and fighting. But what's really interesting is a lot of the politicians, celebrities, huge influential individuals who have signed contracts to sell their soul, who are these shape-shifting reptilians. And you have to have compassion for them too, because at the time that they signed those contracts, they didn't really know what they were getting into. But they are either dying suddenly, right? So this is part of a transmutation, or they can't hold their shape-shifting form anymore because the vibration's getting too high.
We're able to see more too.
So I predict in the next 4 years, the ones who are stubborn enough to stay.
Oh, we're going to see them.
We're going to see them. Do you know
it's not just going to be Adele and Justin Bieber.
Exactly.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, you watch the whole video, it isn't such a thing where at the end Danica's like, does this sort of thing, like, whoop, whoop, whoop.
I was like, no, she's there. She's there the whole time. She doesn't say much. She just sort of looks and kind of asks.
But why do you know, having done more research, do we know why? I love how she just kind of throws out. I mean, it's not just the obvious lizard people like Adele and Bieber. Like, there's gonna be more that you don't expect, and so I'm just curious. What was the evidence for Bieber and Adele?
Hello, it's me.
Was it Adele's weight loss or the Bieber?
No, I think it's just sort of treated as like a truism that Bieber is a lizard.
But do they not have evidence though?
No, I think, but it's like it would be like you and I talking about, like, of course Barack Obama can, is a politician. Like, you don't need the evidence. Like, it's well established.
Of course,
fact that Bieber's
Luka and Jokic are the best NBA players, right? It's just you don't even need to explain why.
And I just want to stress that, like, Danica's just sort of there, kind of asking questions, and she never totally reveals her hand or tips it, but like it's very clear she believes this stuff because she keeps this is not like a solo interview with Elizabeth April. I think I found like 3 where she keeps having her on and they're talking
she's
about.
She's a frequent guest.
She's a frequent guest. And they talk about all this stuff. Elizabeth April says she was abducted by aliens as a kid, experienced some stuff out there. And well, I don't know I didn't get that far into it, but like, she's had like a lot of stuff in her life. And so she's back and she's telling us about this stuff and lizard people, it constantly comes up. We have another clip where in the same interview, we have another clip where she elaborates on poor Justin Bieber. If we can play that one.
I'd like to hear more about that.
Ooh. Have you been shown anybody or?
A long time ago, I had a vision, and this was back in maybe 2012. Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That one day, Justin Bieber was going to shapeshift into a giant reptilian on stage in front of hundreds of thousands who all have their phone on him, who capture it. They have suppressed a lot of these sightings.
Really?
Oh my God. Yeah, there's been a lot of celebrity shapeshifter sightings, and they've just shut it all down in the news, media, all that stuff. So in a case like they're on stage and that just happens and they kind of slip their true form, I mean, how do you shut down hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of live streaming?
I mean, unless you got like a Men in Black situation where someone can come in and move back time a little, or
yeah, that's what they've done before.
I like
what they've done before. The Men in Black thing. That's based in truth. So this is like a turning red situation, I guess, with the panda. Where everybody just saw the panda and then got used to it. I mean, it's all. I don't. So I couldn't tell from that. Is she implying that this happened already with Bieber? But then the people, the media, I assume the Jews, were behind suffocating this, so people don't know that it happened. But hundreds of thousands of people have already seen Bieber as an alien. Is that what the situation is?
First of all, I don't know why you keep coming back to me as some sort of like, academic authority on the shapeshifters. I watched 4 YouTubes. Like,
I don't know. I'm just trying to understand.
Did this happen?
It's hard for me. During the RFK Bear video,
I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike. Funny for people.
It was crazy, but he offered kind of a tangible step-by-step about how this happened, and we were able to kind of poke holes in some of the plot.
Yeah.
It's hard to poke holes in this plot because it's really, there doesn't seem to be a through line.
Of course, it's hard to poke holes in a plot like this. I wasn't at the BeaverCon, and who knows? Maybe I was Men in Black. What do I know?
I am just a figment of your imagination.
Like, it's possible that I'm part of the issue here. Maybe I'm reptilian.
I want to learn a little bit more about the contracts.
I did like that you referenced the Disney movie as your cultural reference point.
I'm a dad now.
It's kind of true. Yeah.
It's kind of like a turning red. I just say turning into a big panda. So I want to know about the contracts. It feels like, according to, what's her name?
Elizabeth April.
According to Elizabeth April, many of these lizard people have been coerced, I guess, into signing a contract with the lizard overlords. Unclear what the details of that contract are and what would happen if they broke the contract. But we do need to have compassion for them, because it seems to me like the lizard people aren't all bad. Some of them were forcibly lizarded.
It seems that way. I haven't seen the contract yet. It does seem like that the lizards, I think, came from a different planet, identified some people, and at various times in our civilization I did listen to this from Elizabeth April. At one point in time, they were kind of debating. At one point in time, they're kind of debating how to announce their presence. And the lizards decided they were deciding whether to do it all at once, but they were worried that it would like shock people, and then they may have announced their presence at one point in time, but that was the start of like organized religion, because people misinterpreted it, and they thought that this was that the lizards were actually God. I don't have much more I can say on this.
It would definitely shake my kind of religious beliefs, I think, if JD Vance just if they get elected and then JD Vance reveals himself to have been a lizard, and then Danica jumps off from off stage. She's like, "That's why I endorsed him. I knew this was going to come.
Panic.
I was ready for this."
And then Elizabeth April is the press secretary. And that's there is one more, because I just want to stress that, like, and I really don't want to pick on Elizabeth April. Like, whatever. I don't believe her.
She seems to be doing fine.
I don't believe her. I just don't want to like come off as like I'm just sort of being like, whatever, dismissive. I am dismissive of it, but I don't want to be obnoxious about it. Danica Patrick is the issue here. She has a sort of lengthy history of inviting these people onto her podcast, people who just like come up with these wild theories about aliens and like point to like archaeological sites and like essentially say, oh no, aliens are responsible for that. And one guest claims that aliens edited human DNA, and it's like, it's just a really random, weird belief system that she possesses. And look, I know she's like a famous NASCAR driver, and she's Fox commentator and all that stuff, but like she's got a weird streak to her, and like bringing her on stage is kind of weird. I want to play the last clip because this gets a sense. It doesn't involve Elizabeth April. It involves a guy named David Icke. I don't really know who he is, but I found this clip, and
I know I've seen David Icke's. He's also a progenitor of the lizard thing.
Yeah.
So this is a trend.
He was.
It isn't just Elizabeth. He was an early.
Yeah. Let's play this one.
Why can't we see them? Well, the answer is you can hardly see anything, mate, because they operate outside, not far outside, actually, of human perception. And so what they're doing with these rituals is they're interacting with these entities they perceive as their gods. I've talked to people who've taken part in these rituals who have described how these entities, often reptilian, but not always in nature, but absolutely non-human, have appeared in these rituals. Because of the energetic
match
environment that has been created by the ritual. The Satanists of today, like the ancients, they do these rituals in the same place over and over and over again. And what this does is thin out the vibrational frequency difference between the two dimensions. It makes it easier to slip into this one, albeit briefly.
Sure. I mean, even when you look at ancient places in the world, they're stacked on top of each other, positive or negative, probably then. Like churches you go to ancient Egypt or you go to different places on the planet and they build on top of each other, like as if that location matters.
Whoa. I feel like I should have taken shrooms before this episode.
Yeah, I'm sober, unfortunately. I am curious what the main thing I'm left with. I don't know that. I mean, what the fuck do you even say about this? Like, they're reptilian in nature. Sometimes they're not reptilian, though. I don't know. Sometimes, who knows? They could be like a fox or a panda. Or
so what is it? Or the stacking on top of each other.
What does that have to do with it? Maybe, who knows? Maybe they could just be like an apple. Like they could be fruit or vegetable. They could be lots of different things, and they're sifting through the vibrations. But like, my thing is, this is her whole oeuvre, and so they get JD on stage. It feels like a real miss that we didn't get like any answers out of JD on this. Like, is he concerned about?
Oh, you think she should have posed the question to JD?
Yeah, I think she said, like, what is the Trump Vance administration going to do about the proliferation of lizard people at the highest levels of society? Like, that does seem to be a real problem.
Do you think JD's people, like Sarabian and them, are like, look, Danica, you're going to go on stage. You're going to MC this event. Don't ask him about lizard people. Like, just don't do it. Do you think that ever came up in the vet or not?
I has to have. I mean, because apparently this is all she does now is talk about aliens. So it's like you have her on stage. It isn't like a deep Google. Like, it isn't like deep Oppo. So I don't. It's not like, oh, she one time said she was interested in lizard people back in 1982, and this is a gotcha. It's her entire persona, like, and she was the interviewer. Also, it wasn't like she was just on stage; she was the key.
Yeah,
person
maybe
in
she
this
feels
event.
bad that maybe she missed the opportunity there to like really elevate that issue.
Well, she has. I'm surprising you, Sam, because I have one other clip for you. Because she did mention JD on the podcast one other time, and with a guest who predicted that he'd be the VP. Let's listen.
One of them is a guy called Mark Andreessen, who's a multi-billionaire kind of internet Silicon Valley AI guy, who I mentioned him in the book, but I've never mentioned him on Twitter. But he just banned me, and interestingly, he blocked me. But interestingly, he blocked me at the time that JD Vance was being made the running mate of Trump, and I was pointing out a few things about JD Vance at the time. He is a business associate of a guy called Peter Thiel. Mm-hmm. Peter Thiel is a co-founder of Palantir. Palantir produces surveillance and control technology for the Pentagon, for the intelligence community in America and worldwide. And he's on the steering committee of the Bilderberg Group, this globalist organization. And he's a business partner and associate of J.D. Vance. And he funded J.D. Vance's political career when he became a senator. And when they were playing around with names, who's going to be Trump's running mate, and they listed the names, and one of them was J.D. Vance, I said it's going to be him. It was obvious because
might have been the only one, because I don't feel like his name was on the radar.
As you see, one of our guys predicted that it would be JD.
That's crazy.
As VP, because of his relationship with Peter Thiel and the Bilderbergers. And if the Bilderbergers wanted JD, then it was going to be JD. And what do the Bilderbergers want more than anything? To keep the lizard people silent.
Oh yeah, that
to
makes
keep
sense.
the truth
yeah.
about the lizard people silent.
Yeah.
And so that does leave you to wonder what is Danica's end game here, because it doesn't feel likely that she had this opportunity with JD and that she didn't bring this up. There must be something else afoot.
No, that's a good catch. I didn't see that. I saw some stuff about Elon.
One of the things that Elon's always been really concerned with is AI getting out of hand. So that's why he wanted to usher in AI to be able to navigate it himself.
Oh, so he could like keep the finger on the dial of how
exactly right. Mm-hmm. So that's where he's coming
him?
From, and that's the biggest question: is do we trust him?
She had some segments: Elon Musk evil or a hero? I guess it's debatable. But I didn't know that this was all sort of a plot by the Bilderbergs. So that makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a hamburger, but a Bilderberger.
Yeah.
Okay, and maybe it's a hamburger lizard person.
For this.
It's not the lizard. Sometimes they're reptilians, sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's just like a hamburger man talking to you from the alternate plane, saying that don't you know that the Egyptians built the mosque on top of the church, on top of the Aztecs? Like sometimes it's a hamburger, and that's definitely happening. So great job, great vet, and I do think it's telling that we're having a sorting in our politics, and we're sorting the lizard people and the dead bear. All those people are sorting around one campaign, and that's Trump and Vance, and they're really
well. I guess the real takeaway here was Lindsey Graham was wrong. Like
that's true.
There were more people out there for Trump.
There are more.
Bring
the truth is out there. Yeah. Trump voters are out there. Thank you,
Tim.
Sam
I think
Stein.
we could end this one.
Thank you, Sam Stein. I hope that right now at the very end of this, our producer Jamie will put in a clip of all the times you failed to start this podcast because you're laughing too hard to talk about it, so people can see that.
Hey guys, I can't even keep this straight. All right, here we go.
Okay, I'll start. No,
I got this. All right, here we go. All right.
Are you sure you don't want me? Are you sure you don't want me to do it? Thanks, everybody. Subscribe to the feed. This is the material you get here. The latest breaking news related to the campaign and the potential lizard people on the ticket. We'll see you guys soon.